Ready?
I think we're on. I believe.
What's that?
So let's call to order the October 10th, 2023 Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Council President Zink.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl.
Here.
Councilperson Fisher.
Here.
Councilperson Price.
Here.
Councilperson Littner.
Here.
Councilperson Brevard. Mayor Lutz.
All right. Would anybody care to make an invocation? All right, if you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. Chief Brummer, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive and information sessions. There were none. Additions, deletions, and reorganization of the agenda. I would like to add an agenda item 11G for a discussion on 801 Walnut Street. That's all right. We have received some questions ahead of time. I believe we have multiple people here that want to address that situation. I think that's the best way to handle that. We do have an 11F, or is to pay the bills, so this would be 11G.
You can revise again, that's fine. It's okay, gotcha.
All right, so we're gonna get 11G is a discussion on 801 Walnut Street. Could I have a motion to approve the reorganized agenda? Second. I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price to approve the reorganized agenda. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Citizen comment, non-agenda items only. The first sign up we have is Catherine Veza.
Yeah, but you just added that.
Oh, the
So now
801?
I'm an agenda item.
Okay, now you're an agenda item. All right. The next sign up we have is Tony Henderson. Just state your name for the record, please.
My name is Tony Henderson. I live at 29 North 9th Street here in Columbia. I have a situation brewing up there, and I believe the board needs to take a serious look at it. I'm going to hand the chief here some photos. These are photos of the sidewalk coming from the school down to Avenue H. I've lived there since 2015. Numerous times, the Borough Columbia Police Department knocked on my door, asked myself and my neighbors to move their vehicles so these trucks could come up through the alley. While the trucks went over the sidewalk, they broke them to pieces. Susquehanna Glass said it's not their problem. They're saying the cops let the truck drive, it's the borough's problem. And we need these fixed because these are causing some serious sinkholes underneath the ground. To give you a good example, the school sidewalk, the curb is 5 inches. Down where they stop the sidewalk from the school, it's 2 inches. When it rains, because of the slope that they put on the road, all the water comes to that side. As you can tell by the pictures, there are cracks all through there. The water goes right up underneath the ground. I released 5,300 gallons of water out of the swimming pool. It went down the alley This is through a garden hose. It went down the alley and it came to where one of my neighbor's garage is and it disappeared. It went down underneath. That tells me that there's cavities underneath. The runoff from the school is creating cavities under the alley and under the sidewalk. And someone needs to get up there and take a good look at it and have someone take a real close look at what's going on under the ground. Because I hate to see one of my neighbors come out of the garage and their car goes down the same. But that's a lot of water to disappear. And then the sidewalks were pushed down because of the big trucks. And I don't know how the borough feels, but I feel as though the borough should be held responsible, being that the officers, which they had no choice to get the truck out of there, had us move and allow them to drive up on the sidewalk.
Are you saying there's multiple trucks at different times, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was going on for years. Just recently, I guess, Susquehanna Glass changed their ways, I don't know. I mean, one time they took out a piece of a telephone pole.
Susquehanna Glass is between 7th and 8th.
The trucks came all the way up to 10th Street.
I think they're having problems coming out. Which or
Yes, maybe it's that truck that made that.
Redirected them. Probably just been
That's
causing
on Ninth Street.
problem.
Yeah,
They ruined the sidewalks for the side of the school, because that's where they make the turns. And the homeowners shouldn't be responsible. My insurance company said, being that the police officer told you to move your car, we are not paying for it. Because the borough has a law that said trucks can't come up the alley. Once the officer told them to come up, then the responsibility falls on the truck. And I would like for someone to take a look at what's going on, because there is a lot of moisture underneath the ground.
I have his number, so we can look at that and get back.
Yeah, thank you for letting us know. We will get up there and look at it. Derek and all, our engineer, we'll get out there and look at it right away and see if we can find out what's going on. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Do you want your pictures back and we'll move on?
All right. Althea, you're 801, so you're an agenda item as well. All right, I'm gonna cross that off. Margaret Dunnan.
Can we come up together again? We're back.
Okay.
We won't take long this time.
All right, now,
We are messengers of the MAC, the, Columbia's Merchants Association. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm Margaret Dunn, Peggy, 26 South Second Street, Columbia, a member of the board of MAC.
And I'm Rebecca Murphy, 825 Walnut Street, right here in Columbia. It's good to see you all again. I know it hasn't been that long since we were here, but we hate to take your time because you're also very, very busy doing the work that you need to do within our community that we live in or play in or actually work in. So it's great to be here. But we're here as representatives of the MAC, of the Welcome MAC Wagon Committee. We're having an event coming up. It's entitled Hearts on Locusts. I don't know if anyone remembered that last year or not. We didn't quite make the, we didn't have the opportunity to actually have free parking because we didn't come ahead of time that we should have. Now we know a little bit better. I think we're a little bit more educated, so thank you for helping us with that. So the MAC, we would love to have parking beginning January the 6th up to February the 17th.
Saturdays.
They're just Saturdays, right?
And the reason being, we sell hearts and they're put on the posts outside. And it benefits the MAC so that we can continue with our Fourth Friday events and so forth. And what happens is people can buy these hearts at the market house, and there are going to be other places that they'll be available. And as soon as we get the hearts, we will be able to get them hung. And as soon as people see these, then more folks come out and want to have the same thing. So, we're asking once again
Yes, we're asking once again.
for a couple of weeks ahead so that some signs can be up for people to notice and say, hey, I want to do that
Right, just to kind of jumpstart.
for Valentine's Day.
And also, we do want to mention that we do have a mixer coming up. We do a mixer every month through the MAC, and it's actually a great opportunity to come out and check the MAC out and check the businesses out. Many businesses do come and participate, and we're having our next one at Kindred is coming Tuesday from 9 to 11. You are all invited. Oh, 9 to 11. No, I'm sorry, not 9 to 11. What is it, 6 to 7:30, I apologize, yeah, 6 to 7:30. I don't remember that 9 to 11. But we would love to have you out come and see the businesses, would really appreciate it as well. But that's our little play on that.
Hey, Rebecca, what were the dates again you were asking for?
We were asking for the 6th through January through the 17th of February.
Which we had previously denied.
Yes, I mean, the last time you guys came out, the request was shortened down to, I don't have the dates in front of me, it was like
Through January,
October through the end of December, I believe.
Right.
Right, December 30th. I
I
think.
think so, yeah.
So that has already been actioned.
Okay. What would work? The 20th through February the 17th, the 20th of January through February the 17th, would that help?
I would like to know, are you planning on, beginning January 6th, are you planning on beginning to sell these hearts and actually putting them up?
Yeah, well, no, the
Starting
hearts,
January
no, the
6th?
hearts aren't going to be going up that early, they're not. But it's a way to jumpstart our Christmas theme as well, which is going to be happening prior to that. But if we could even say January the 20th through February the 17th, that would be feasible.
We can put it on for a future agenda item to discuss it,
Okay.
but I don't think we wanna
Okay,
discuss it
fine.
this
Do you
evening.
want us to come back?
Well, I mean, if the request gets in, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be good, Rebecca, if you also bring in the information about the hearts on Locust.
Yes.
Bring all the information, and they can approve that program as well as discuss the free parking.
Okay.
Both at the same
And when
time.
is that next date?
24th
The 24th of
October.
October, okay.
Do they need, request use application?
For the hearts, yeah.
Yeah, so the hearts, that would be that
Yeah.
application, we'll make sure you have
That's what
that.
we didn't get last year.
Right.
So we didn't do it, right. Yeah, no, that's not a problem, thank you. We will be back on the 24th, and I will be sure that,
And in order to get on the agenda, you need to have that information to mark, what's the date, Mark? The Wednesday
On the Wednesday
before.
before that, which would be on the 18th.
October the 18th.
Yeah, I'm gonna email you right now the form, just make sure you get it filled out.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you all. So hopefully we'll see you at the mixer that's coming up this Tuesday, some of you. Okay?
And thanks again, we know that you are waiting with bated breath for the 26th for us to come back again. Glad enough things that I will, we have come to.
And the next sign up we have is Frank Doutry.
I'm gonna pass, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna pass.
Oh, okay. Yep. And I'm crossing him off. Next, minutes for approval. Could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for the budget work session, September 21st, 2023?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl. Excuse me, to approve the Borough Council budget work meeting minutes from September 21st, 2023. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to approve the Borough Council Meeting minutes from September 26, 2023.
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for September 26, 2023. All in favor?
I have one correction.
okay.
One correction.
Sorry.
On page 3 of the minutes, the very first line, I didn't, I mentioned that the comp plan 2040 was an implemental plan, not incremental. So a little typo there, implemental, I-M-P-L-E.
Implementable.
Yeah, that makes better sense. Thank you, that's all.
All in favor of approving the minutes with that small correction? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Alright. Presentation and acceptance of reports, community development.
I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the Plumbing Market House report for September 2023.
Public Works and Property, Councilperson Stahl.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge the Public Works and Property report for September 2023.
Alright. And Safety Marketing, Councilperson Picard.
Nothing for marketing at this time. I would like to acknowledge the receipt of public safety reports for September 2023, including the Penn State Health, Lifeline, the Columbia Borough Police Department, and the Columbia Borough Fire Department reports, including August and September for the Fire Department. Acknowledge receipt of the EMOC report for September 2023, and acknowledge receipt of the Codes Compliance report and condemnation report for September 2023. I did want to let council know that the police chief and I continue to meet on fleshing out procedures for internal crisis communication. On October 5th, our emergency management coordinator, Jay Barniger, led our quarterly meeting, and I'm glad to say that all the emergency services were represented at that meeting, and we had a lot of productive conversation to ensure that the emergency readiness of the borough is at top notch. I believe Adam Martin from Penn State Health would like to offer a statistic.
Condolences on the Phillies.
Sorry.
Hi, good evening.
Thanks,
It's all right, the Yankees are not doing well. So Todd and I had a meeting the other day, and we're going to have quarterly meetings just to discuss Penn State, Lifeline, EMS, coverage in Columbia Borough. But a couple of things I want to go over. It's always good for us to update the councils on what's going on with Penn State. So we are having our next academy starting October 23rd. That academy, again, is a 12-week academy. Right now there's 13 people signed up, 5 from our region. So we're very happy. We had over 30 applications, so it was overwhelming, and we didn't even advertise. So we were very blessed about that. So it was great. Manheim, Penn Township, and Raffle Township is coming up quickly. We'll be putting an ambulance up there starting January 1st, taking over from Northwest EMS as they transition into the MISA, which is the EMS authority. We'll initially be housed at the fire department of Manheim Borough. They have opened their arms to us. They're even moving their fire engine back in the bay to have us park in there, which is pretty amazing. So, and as far as MISA, the rumor is out there that, and I think I may have mentioned last time, that they're looking to charge $300 if they responded to another agency's municipality. I heard from a couple other municipalities that they are not allowed to do that. I was at West Hempfield last week, and they had some questions, so I suggested that maybe the councils get together and discuss it, especially with the solicitors, to see what the laws are, if they can charge, because they're going to charge, we're going to charge. So We did have a passing of an EMT, about 2 weeks ago. Isaiah was riding a motorcycle and was hit by a car and passed away. So we did go down to Philadelphia, that's where his family is, for memorial service. So he worked at LGH2 and was in college, so we'll miss Isaiah. As far as numbers, Todd and I talked about numbers, and you folks get the statistics, but some numbers that kind of are amazing to me that you don't see. So when we were Susquehanna Valley EMS, our missed calls for our whole area that we covered was pretty high, 150, 180. So I pulled a couple of months out and I included Columbia Borough in this. So January 2023, our total calls in our response area were 903, and we were covered 127 times. In Columbia Borough, it was 191 calls, and we were covered only 12 times, which is pretty amazing. For March 2023, our total call volume was 948 calls, and we were covered 109 times. In Columbia Borough, it was 219 calls, and we were covered 17 times. So again, it's just amazing. May 2023, total call volume was 956, and we were covered 96 times. Columbia Borough was 191, we were covered 15 times. In July, our call volume was 1,018 in our service area, and we were covered 98 times. In Columbia Borough was 218 calls, and we were covered 15 times. And then for September 2023, our total calls were 920, and we were covered only 76 times. Columbia Borough, we had 205 calls, and we were covered 6 times. So we're pretty proud of this decrease in cover call, covering our communities better, having more ambulances on the streets.
They are really good.
They're excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing our best. We're not perfect. I'll admit that we're not perfect at all, but we are trying to do our best with our new employees and.
Well, the response time's been steadily going down this year, and so it's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I think that's all I have. So if you have any questions,
Thank you.
Oh, COVID, is it spiking again? Is it?
Yes.
sure. They say the numbers are up. We really haven't seen a lot of numbers in pre-hospital, but the hospital's saying the numbers are up.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm giving you thanks.
Presentations, we don't have anything set in there. Chief Farmer.
The police department appreciated the hospitality extended by Turkey Hill on Chestnut Street last Wednesday. We had a Coffee with Cops event. Our officers were there for 2 hours, 8 a.m. to 10. We were able to interact with some of the residents and visitors. So free coffee too, so we appreciated that. Also, there are 2 large events that are going to impact the River Park the next 2 Saturdays. The Alba Twitch Festival is the 14th, and the Bust is the 21st. Thank you.
Action items. First, we have HARB approval. To consider the certificate of appropriateness for Roman Empire Holdings to provide all new hanging signs for the commercial tenants at Representative Miller's office, Let's Roll e-bike rentals, and for the main building located at 132 Locust Street. I will note that there were no conditions given by HARB. So I have a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness. A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve certificate of appropriateness for Roman Empire Holdings LLC for 132 Locust Street. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? No. All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to approve the certificate of appropriateness for Roman Empire Holdings LLC to provide all new hanging signs for the commercial tenants of Representative Miller's office, Let's Roll e-bike rentals, and for the main building located at 132 Locust Street. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. I'm gonna sign it now, just so I don't forget, because it's different from the please sign folder. Next, could I have oh, and Laurie, the next two are going to be roll call votes because we roll call ordinance votes. Sorry.
No,
I wanted to email you earlier, and I forgot.
so when I got my sheet, I'm ready.
Could I have a motion to approve, ordinance 941 to amend the Borough's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 186, Streets and Sidewalks, by adding a new Article 7, Sidewalk Cafe.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to approve ordinance 941, amending the Borough's Code of Ordinances to add a sidewalk cafe. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? I mean, it looks like what we discussed in the sessions. All right. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Kaufman,
Yes.
Councilperson Stahl,
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher,
Yes.
Councilperson Price,
Yes.
Councilperson Littner,
Yes.
Councilperson Burgard,
Yes.
President Zink.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, could I have a motion to approve, enact ordinance 947 to amend the Borough's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 207, Article 16, I had to like talk that through, for handicap parking. And a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Littner, second by Councilperson Stahl, to enact ordinance 947, amending the Borough's Code of Ordinances for handicap parking. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
I remember during discussion, Councilperson Kaufman raised the question of, should people who already have a handicap parking space, who were granted one due to medical conditions and paperwork, can they reapply or re-register? Should there be some kind of proof that the handicap parking space is still required, versus just letting it go on perpetually, just.
So we require an annual renewal where they verify, and we can probably tighten it up if you want us to, but we have them verify, saying, yes, I still require this space, and then we renew it for the year. They pay a fee when they renew it. So during that process, we do ask them to verify, but we don't ask for new paperwork with that.
Is that required when they apply for one the first time?
They have to have all that paperwork in when they apply initially, yes.
Can I just add that on the original application, the medical professional has an option to say it's temporary or permanent.
Right.
So that permanent designation by the medical professional is noted on the original application.
Thank you.
There are some, the red ones are temporary, and that's noted, and we follow up with that as that expires, but they are declared a permanent handicap situation on the original application.
I just don't want to see abuse of a good thing that people really need. And when it's done, it should be done and open up parking spaces for those who need who are, just want to make sure that it's fair for everybody. Does everybody feel comfortable with the process and the procedure as it is now?
I do, but I do have one question. So, the people that currently have a handicap parking space, will they be notified of this change and have the opportunity to provide their placard number? How is that going to work?
I thought we'd do it during the renewal process and then have them send in, because in their initial application, they have to either give us their license plate number or their placard number as part of our file. And if that ever changes, because placards sometimes do change, we have to get that as well. So we'll send a letter out when we do the renewal.
Okay. And we're ready to, on new ones, start
Putting the,
putting the placard number on the,
it's actually gonna be below the sign, it's gonna be a
Okay.
separate panel.
a separate pound. Okay, so we're prepared for that at this point.
And what we've discussed, to get you guys prepared, we're looking at increasing the fee slightly on the fee chart, because this is an added cost to add this, and currently the cost of the sign, the post and everything is not what we're currently collecting. So we're looking at a proposal to add a small increase on the fee chart.
And that'll happen during the budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
That'll come forward.
It still begs the question, does anybody else want to talk about whether or not some kind of evidence should be prepared if you do not have a permanent box checked on your original application from your provider, healthcare provider? Should some kind of evidence be provided when you renew to make sure that you do indeed qualify for a handicapped parking space?
If it's temporary, Lori, they don't list the number of days, do they? Like it's, or months?
There's a little card that comes along with the placard, whether it's temporary or permanent, and all of those little identification cards, because the placard does not assign it to me. The little wallet card, we also require that. That has an expiration date on it. And like I said, when they file the original application with a temporary status, we note that, we follow up with that. You know, we let them know, we're gonna take your sign down now because your handicapped
Expired.
has expired. Yes,
Yeah, should do
that's
that.
something we as a staff follow up on.
Okay, that's what I
Yes,
was asking.
yes,
I didn't know if the
yes.
process actually existed.
And then if it's turned into a permanent thing, at that point, they give us the new one saying it's permanent.
That's correct. And that's what we do for the renewal process, because even the blue ones, the permanent ones expire. So every year they have to supply us with the new identification card that says you are the holder of that placard, and we take a picture of the placard that has the expiration date on it.
But the doctor's not assigning a time frame to temporary. Is that what you're saying? It's just temporary?
No, the placard,
Okay,
the placard application assigns that time frame.
okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Anyone? Anything further?
I already said my piece.
I'm just making sure again, I
I'm
don't
looking
wanna.
forward to the fee schedule discussion, but it is what it is, you know?
All right,
If the process is being followed as
It is what it is.
described right here, or described, I think that's fair, as long as we're following the process. Folks are being treated fairly.
all right. That being said, any further comments from the audience? No? I have a motion by Councilperson Littner, second by Councilperson Stahl, to enact ordinance 947, amending the Borough's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 207, Article 16, handicapped parking. Could I have a roll call?
Councilperson Littner,
Yes.
Councilperson Burghardt,
Yes.
Councilperson Kaufman,
No.
Councilperson Stahl,
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher,
Yes.
Councilperson Price,
Yes.
Council President Zink.
Yes. All right. Next, could I have a motion to ratify the decision to terminate Sharon Sino as the zoning officer for the Borough of Columbia?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, to ratify the decision to terminate Sharon Sino as the zoning officer for the Borough of Columbia. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns?
Just so you guys are all clear, the reason that we're doing this is the position of zoning officer is actually an appointed position. It's not just a staff member, that's an appointed position. So, in talking with Devin, we needed to, actually take her off that, and the next action we have tonight is then to appoint Jessica Fieldhouse as the official zoning officer for the borough.
And that process is actually spelled out in the MPC, which is the enabling legislation for zoning.
I just wanted to clarify, just so I understand. Jessica's position is interim, is that correct? She's not being selected as permanent?
She's not being selected to fill a permanent staff role. She's simply filling in as our appointed zoning officer until we hire someone to take that role.
Okay.
So it's interim zoning officer.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Price, ratify the decision to terminate Sharon Sino as the zoning officer for the Borough of Columbia. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Next, could I have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-27 to appoint Jessica Fieldhouse as the zoning officer for the Borough of Columbia? I have a motion by Councilperson Brevard, second by Councilperson Price to adopt resolution 2023-27, appointing Jessica Fieldhouse as the zoning officer. Questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
Can I make a comment now?
Yes.
Excuse me. Do I have to go over there?
Yes, to the microphone and state your name for the record, please.
Catherine Deza, EZZA. Is this position is very important in Columbia.
Yes.
I ran into a lot of trouble. I talked to Mr. Stivers about this, and anyway, there needs to be a lot of consistency in this position. The person needs to know what they're doing, and this is an interim position. When is it going to be posted so that we can make it a permanent position?
We'll be posting this job very soon. We're just going through the job description now, making sure everything's right. We want to get it out there. We want to get somebody hired as soon as we can. Because I completely agree with you. This is very important for us.
It is, and like when you say very soon, do you have any kind of timeline?
I'd like to get it posted in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, that'd be great. Then.
Thank you.
So before we announce Jessica as our zoning officer, Jessica does not work for Columbia Borough.
That's correct.
Shouldn't we use her company name like that?
We talked about that. Either you can, I feel comfortable, I think Evan, if you want to jump in there, whether you do it as C.S. Davidson or you do it as a person.
Yeah, I'm okay doing it as her, knowing that, this is C.S. Davidson, she has the backing of C.S. Davidson with help and things like that, and she's gonna be the point person who's actually here doing the work, so, yeah.
Yeah, this person has authority to sign permits and make decisions. I prefer to have it as a set person.
I'm okay with that, that makes sense. But I still think it has to be a little more than that, because, we hire Evan's accounting firm, we'll hire Evan.
Or his lawyer firm, too.
Or lawyer firm, excuse me.
Evan, you're an accountant.
I don't think anyone wants that.
And just like Derek as well, we hire the firm, we don't hire the person. I understand that you want to put her under, because of her signing, and having an Indian, but I still think we ought to have, whether it's C.S. Davidson in lieu of, or whatever,
Or how about Jessica Fieldhouse as representative of C.S. Davidson?
something. I just think something like that should be.
That's not going to change anything from my perspective. I'm fine if you guys want to, if that makes you feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
it's just, she's not a government, she's not a Columbia Borough employee. And I want people to be clear about that when they come in. I think she's qualified for the job, it's not in any way.
Are you okay with that change, Todd, to the motion?
Sure.
I'm just thinking when we do hire the new zoning officer, then we'll go through the process of terminating.
Yeah, and then we'll appoint the new person as the official zoning officer, yes.
I mean, it's not like a termination of an employment, it's just
Contract service.
contract service. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Sharon.
All right. Yes.
Brad Chambers. So I know that you said that Sharon was only interim and that you are looking for a permanent.
Jessica's only.
Jessica, so Sharon was actually a permanent employee?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to know if you have any more insight as to why this is happening now?
Sharon Zeno is no longer an employee of the borough. She was our appointed zoning officer, so we now have to replace that appointment with somebody else until we hire someone full-time.
Right. So I guess we can't speak on why she's no longer with the borough.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a personnel matter. Is there any other? Oh, yes, Frank.
Frank Galford from 1100 Pike. I brought up that issue at the last meeting, and I wasn't given a reason as to why she was terminated. I got nothing. I decided there was 2 issues that I brought up that maybe she might have been involved in. So I took that with a grain of salt. I left the meeting. It wasn't for 5 minutes. One of the downtown people asked me what happened at the meeting. I told him some of the issues, and I told him about the zoning officer that was fired. I said, nobody will talk about it. Oh, so I'll tell you what happened. So the person explained to me what happened. So I agree with you, it was not a criminal act. But it still would have been nice to let the people know, so they know what's going on. But there the downtown people knew, and nobody would give an answer in at the meeting. Thank you.
Just state for the record, I'm a little concerned that something as confidential as that is being discussed out among people in town. That really bothers me.
But is
That's
it?
information that, I don't even know what was said. I don't even know if the information is accurate.
Right, so we don't even know how true it is.
It could have been Sharon herself, you don't know the source.
I'm just saying that without information that just on the surface levels is very concerning.
I think it's important that we reiterate that personnel matters are confidential. That's why we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters, and that kind of information is by law required to stay here around this table and with the borough staff. So whatever you may hear, it may be true, it may not be. I would take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
Rumor mill.
All right, any further questions, comments, or concerns on appointing Jessica Fieldhouse? All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Brevard, second by Councilperson Price, to adopt Resolution 2023-27, appointing Jessica Fieldhouse as a representative of C.S. Davidson as the zoning officer for the Borough of Columbia. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Yeah, we'll have to make that change for the peace sign folder. Next, could I have a motion to authorize the bill payments?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl to authorize the bill payments. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I just wanted to ask the chief, it looks like we had about 8 dogs we had to, in 1 month.
Oh, it's ongoing. It's ongoing.
It's a large bill. We'll pay that to.
No, typically what happens is, we receive the invoices in mass, so it's, that's probably over a few month period.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But once the dogs are recovered,
Do they try to get?
we get payment, we get that reimbursement.
We work, yes, yes.
Very good. Thanks.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns on the bill payments? I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Stahl, to authorize the bill payments. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, pay the bills. Next, we have the item 11G that I added, which is a discussion on 801 Walnut Street.
We are gonna keep it to the 15 minutes since this is the business meeting. And do we want to have, Ben, did you want to come up and start?
If no one minds me jumping the list, I can start.
Yeah,
Nobody objects to
no,
that.
I mean, yeah.
Go right ahead.
Because we all received everyone from council was given a copy of your emails, so we are aware of the questions, and we can, we are able to provide some answers for you this evening if you would like them.
That would be great. And first off, I'd like to start, I'll introduce myself for those who don't know me. Ben Otterbein, I live at 123 North 8th Street, Columbia. I'd like to thank the council for adding this as a late agenda item. I know that's not a regular occurrence, and we the residents do appreciate the concern being taken here. Without explaining the entire issue again, we're here to discuss the property at 801 Walnut Street. There were some photos shown last time. It's been bought by an LLC investment group out of Lancaster. Has a permit to turn the majority of its backyard into a parking spot, and it addressed a large section of the curb along 8th Street, eliminating a lot of the resident parking. Diving into the issues real quick and the questions I had to the expedition. A lot of residents' parking got eliminated with this project. And digging through the borough ordinances along 8th Street, ordinance 220-43, section D, I believe I sent to the borough earlier, states that a residential driveway at maximum can't go past 30 feet for a two-way and it's shorter for a one-way. Their permit was approved for 36 feet of depressed curb. That's a 20% overage of the maximum allowance for a two-way driveway. Unless I'm missing something, does that require variance on the work being done?
So we looked into this, and Derek, our engineer, can help address this. I'll start by saying that section of the code is anticipating an access drive into a parking lot, not the width of a single-family residential driveway. So, Derek, I'm going to jump in on that.
The piece we talked about, and I have seen sections like this in the zoning ordinance try to be interpreted and used for this situation, but the intent of that is for a singular driveway access to something bigger, not a curb cut for a residential driveway. If you look earlier in that section of the zoning ordinance, it actually talks about, for instance, backing out onto a street is not permitted, with the exception of a single family residential driveway. So there are some provisions in there that allow for some flexibility for residential driveways. What I normally see in a lot of the other municipalities I rep is a standalone driveway ordinance, because we usually don't dive into the zoning ordinance to regulate smaller projects like this. And the subdivision land development ordinance, where some other provisions are housed, are not applicable in a project like this. So what it's actually caused, again, I think this comes down to how the zoning officer interpreted the ordinance at the time that the permit was issued. But what it has sparked is a conversation from our end is, do we need to look a little closer at the regulation of residential driveways and adopt maybe some additional regulation in a standalone ordinance to look at this. I can tell you, I'm happy to talk about all the rest of your questions. I have solid answers on everything else here and don't have any concerns about the rest of your questions. This width one was the one that caused us a lot of discussion internally on, does this part of the zoning ordinance apply? Should it apply? What do we need to do to try to address this in the future?
Yeah, because by opening up that much curb and then eliminating a full parking spot up to the next grass cartway, there's over 40 feet of parking lot for residential. And if there's no zoning ordinance that pertains to that, property owners, this town doesn't have enough parking. That's a known issue. As we all grow as a community, families grow, parking diminishes. And as we open up that with the driveway and choose that the opening of a business that doesn't apply to a residential driveway, one would think the residential driveway would be more restricted due to the less traffic flow in the business. I just find that kind of hard to understand. That's probably something we need to address.
Well, a lot of the thought is actually, it's kind of the opposite, is, now I personally, I understand the concern, and I don't think anyone here was necessarily looking at, hey, we definitely want to put 40-foot, curb cuts in. But the opposite end of how you would look at this is you ended up eliminating 2 on-street parking spaces. But it was for a standard on-street parking space is 22 feet.
But up to the
back
next grass alleyway, there's only 4 feet left on the one side, so now we have 36 feet plus 4 feet plus an alley,
So 44.
Yeah, it's
22, again, when we stripe on-street parking spaces, I understand that people can normally park a little more efficiently than a 22-foot space. We've done that. Maple Street, did we look at for that? Fourth. So in general, there was roughly 2 spaces lost here from an engineering perspective. There were 4 added. So understanding they went from public to private, but a lot of how ordinances are written that requires off-street parking for residential, and that's why to get cars off the road. It's something we've talked about. I'm not advocating for the project. I'm just letting you know this is kind of the other way of looking at it. Is there was a net gain in spaces here, not a net loss. I understand the gain was for one singular property, but if you looked at it together, it was a net gain.
Copy. Thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
To be honest. Skipping ahead then, in the borough ordinance, I believe you're trying to go the same direction with the ADA compliance, but I didn't see anything pertaining to a business in that section that any parking spaces stated in 2243, correct me, that was a typo, I had 41 there in section D1. Any parking spaces 4 to 25 feet, 4 to 25 spaces, must come with one ADA compliant handicap parking space. I didn't see in this LLC proposal that they had a handicap parking space.
Yeah, so if you look at subsection 2, it discusses that handicap parking spaces shall meet and comply with current American with Disability Act regulations. There's a specific exemption in the ADA Act for single-family residential homes.
Perfect, yeah, I tried to link to that.
Yeah, so it's why anyone else here with maybe 3, 4 spaces, nobody's required to strike the spaces on their private driveway. So that provision wouldn't apply.
Even if it was used in a commercial manner through an LLC?
That's different. It doesn't matter who owns the property, it's the use of the property.
Okay.
So if it's used as a single family dwelling, then.
Not a short-term rental or anything along those lines? Or a rental property?
I don't believe that.
Ben, you and I talked about this. Short-term rentals are not allowed in that district.
Yeah.
If they decide to use this property as a short-term rental, then we would have to, and we've done it in the past, we'd have to go after them and issue violation notices and shut it down.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it.
That's a fair question. I think
Yeah.
that is a concern people see, and I recognize that. But we can't cite them on assumptions. We have to see if they begin to use it that way, then we will go after them and shut it down.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Moving on to another issue, and I'm glad you have answered, I'm glad you were there to leave questions.
I really appreciate you submitting the questions. It allowed us to be prepared and have a good discussion tonight.
Thank you.
And that was the whole
Seriously.
thing, we wanna,
In no way would this be a gotcha session, we're just looking for answers here. The curb, the back curb of 801 Walnut property, I submitted a photo. It appears to be on the property of 803, and I know that property owner did make a complaint. She couldn't be here with us tonight. It's very close to the property line. It's ambiguous where the lines are in the small town, but it does look to be over that property line, division of the slip houses. How does the borough check permits that their work only is put on the property as permanent addition for the lot? Because there's also a permit for a fence that was approved to be dug outside of, per their diagram, that curb that appears to be ambiguously on the property line. There's a fence going on the other side for their parking lot. What inspection process is determined that the work was on the lot is permitted for? So
First of all, so everyone's clear, he's saying curb, it's actually a short retaining wall that, the property is sloped, so they had to flatten it out, so there's a small retaining wall on the backside that I think is what you're referring to, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. We don't require surveys when people are putting up fences, et cetera. It's up to the property owner to ensure that they're put in the right location. If there is a gross violation, they're just 20 feet over the line, is blew the line away, we can do something. If it's closed, that's a civil matter, and the adjacent property owners would have to get an attorney to come out and look, or a survey to come out and look at it and say, this is over. I can't say it's over without a survey either. I can look at it and say, gee, that looks kind of tight, that might be an inch or two over the line, but in order to go after enforcement action, I'd have to approve.
I mean, we're looking at feet by the lineage of the houses, the way I could see easily a foot with a fence, and in Columbia, I mean, when I purchased my house, it came in square feet, it's a lot, not 0.5 acre, welcome to being in town. So a foot's a lot.
Sure.
And the omnibus, it doesn't seem fair, the omnibus goes back to the residents to be financially responsible when the council issues a permit, and then building goes off the property. That's my concern there. I know she raised that concern, couldn't be here tonight.
Yeah, I think it goes back to we as a borough staff have to make a decision to issue a permit based on the information provided. So if the permittee is certifying that the fence is within the property, then again, outside of something larger that might require a certified survey like a land development plan or subdivision plan, a permit this small, and I don't think anybody here wants to have somebody to hire a surveyor every time they do a project. We have to go with what we see on the permit. So if the permit shows the fence being on the property, that's how the permit was issued. It was never the borough's intention to say, sure, go a couple feet over, that's fine. The borough is issuing a permit for a fence to be constructed on that property. If the fence goes over the property line, again, we aren't necessarily the enforcement on to look at that. As Mark said, it becomes a civil matter between two property owners. I don't have a better answer.
Okay, that's perfect answer.
Yeah, no, that clarified it. Thank you where the position is. Running short on time, I have two more, I'll try to make it quick. It was stated at the last council meeting, there's a lot going on in the property with the investment group and the changes they're trying to make with it. I had a question that didn't come before planning. From my own understanding, it was stated that it didn't meet the threshold for planning with small projects. Just curious if the council could clear up and quantify what that threshold would have been and how the property fell short.
The municipal planning code and our subdivision and land development ordinance does not require land development planning for any singular residential property. It needs to be a minimum of 2 or more residential properties, or kind of a multi-unit family on one, or multi-unit residential on one parcel. Obviously, all things commercial, industrial, all of those can get kicked right into land development planning. So, I mean, anyone building a single-family home on a barren lot, that would not come to planning either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great information.
If you have your own lot and you want to build a house on it, then you might still have to go through stormwater management review, but generally all of those reviews are held at staff level between codes and internal borough staff.
That clears up how residential property did not meet the planning threshold in this instance. Thank you.
Sure.
Last one, and I'm running short here. I spoke to Mr. Gable last meeting. We had talked about the cycle of violations and how once a code violation is remedied, it kind of resets to square one. So I would explain if I say anything wrong, I don't want to quote. I'd like to propose something a little bit different so we can be proactive instead of reactive. We have a lot of rental situations in this town. And there are a lot of code violations. We see that where the landlords sometimes treat their rentals purely an income stream. We could hold them a little bit more accountable. We have a 3-strike rule when it comes to tenants, but what about the landlords and property owners extracting income from the tenant? We could hold occupancy as a criteria to get code violations fixed on a time basis as code violations stack up. That would allow the property to be kept in better terms, the renter to have a better home to live in, and the community to fall more into vision of the 2040 comprehensive plan. It would allow us to kind of lead instead of lag as issues rack up and we wouldn't be chasing the tail and going back to square one all the time. That's a proposal I'd like the council to consider. I don't quite know how that works. That's a very vague and broad overview. It would need to be scoped better. Just seeing if it's something everyone's interested in.
I'll say this, thank you for bringing that up. We will absolutely look into this. Not the first time the concerns regarding rental properties have been raised in this community. I think it's something we want to continue to look at, and so we'll take it serious and look at it.
No, I do appreciate that. It would help us, lead instead of lag and get armed with 2040 comp plan. Again, thank you, Ms. Zink, Mark, Evan, Mr. Reinhold, if I'm pronouncing that? Riddle. Thank you for fielding all these questions. I appreciate it last minute. It's been a big issue. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that signed up for this topic? Is there anything you would like to add? All right, we'll go.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
I'm not as
Okay, with 5 more
minutes. And I didn't submit my
What?
things ahead of time.
There you go. Yeah.
Catherine does again. The problem is, this is not me. This house, this property, they were gonna put this parking lot behind their house. By doing that now, they have allotted themselves street parking per se, because no one else can park there. In my house, I have to go by the luck of the draw to get a parking space in front of my house. The way this was done, these people automatically have these parking spaces behind their property and have eliminated the rest of us being able to park in that area. That doesn't seem fair. And also, and I don't know if this goes along with the same thing, the way it is right now, I am surprised no one has broken a leg or an ankle, because the way this is, and I'm sure they're not done yet, there is a huge gap between the paved area, the unpaved area, and maybe they're going to be putting some kind of a foundation in there. But I walk my dog in the evening sometimes, in the dark, you could almost go up to mid-calf where this big hole is. It's just a groove.
Is that hole along the sidewalk or adjacent to the sidewalk on their property?
It's along the, well, okay, let's see. There's the pavement where the sidewalk is, then there's the dirt, and then there's this area like in here, it's all empty, that's just.
And that's between the sidewalk and the parking area, is what you're saying? Okay, we'll go out and look at it.
But I mean, my big, and parking is a big problem on that street. So they have the best of both worlds there. And as far as I know, we didn't have any time to, this wasn't announced ahead of time that we could have come in and addressed this. Maybe it was, but I was unaware of that.
No, because it didn't go to zoning or anything like that.
So all of a sudden, we've lost an entire section of parking. Yeah. That's all.
Althea, Caroline, anything else to add?
Good evening, I'm Althea Ramsey Carrigan, I live at 800 Chestnut Street. My house is at the opposite end of the North 8th Street block from 801 Walnut. My question is, there were trees removed in order to do this repaving. There were no trees put back in. Like, there's no room for a single tree when numerous trees were removed when it was all brick. And I'd like to know why that didn't happen. And also, does this mean that I can add the whole length of my 8th Street property and make myself off-street parking?
Yeah.
Two questions. First one, were the trees in the sidewalk area?
Yes, they were.
Okay. All right, we'll look at that, because that would take approval by the Shade Tree Commission to remove them.
And the current owner told me personally and two others that they would be appearing at the Shade Tree meeting and they would be putting trees in, and nothing was done, and they paved right over it.
Okay, so thank you. We'll look at that. Could you add parking to the rear of your property?
Well, evidently
Possibly,
the whole
yes.
side of 8th Street.
Not the rear, she could do it right in front like they did.
Yeah, why couldn't I do it? I could probably squeeze 15 people in there.
Yeah.
Well, if that much impervious space would definitely require stormwater provisions, which they also did do in this case.
So they did stormwater in this
Yeah.
case? And my last question is, now that they've added this off-street parking, can they accomplish their original goal, which they told to me was to make it a 3-unit?
They cannot.
No.
That zoning district does not allow for more than a single family. They can try to, but if they're caught, they will be cited and fined for it.
Thank you.
Caroline.
She left
Did she?
coughing.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw her walk out, but I wasn't sure.
She was concerned about the trees.
Oh, okay. Let her know we are looking at that. All right. Next, we have considered a request by Aaron Marines Esquire, attorney for the former owners of Riverside Cares, to reconsider the LURDA application for 132 Locust Street.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Aaron Marinas. I'm
Marinas, I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
I'm an attorney, also Kathy Gruber. I have Brian Myers here, one of the principals of the original developer of Riverside Terrace Apartments. We get to talk about this for the second time tonight. And I just want to very briefly set the stage here. This project has been going on for a long time, and now it is finally built and occupied, and it's a I think it's a great addition to Columbia. But dating back to 2021, the developers applied. This project was always intended and relied on getting LURDA tax abatements for the first 5 years of occupancy. And back in June of 2021, our guys say that they dropped off an application package, and I think it was with Sharon, and the borough looked through everything that they have, and they can't find it anywhere, so who knows? So that's where we're at right now. We didn't know that there was anything wrong until we got a tax bill a couple months ago, and said, wait, this is a lot bigger than it was supposed to be, based on the LURDA abatement. So again, that's where we stand right now. Don't know what happened with it, don't know why, but we're here to talk about the project and ask for some help from the borough. We are not asking for you to tee up another LURDA ordinance. And you did that for the purpose of spurring downtown investment, taking care of some blighted properties, and it's worked. You got this beautiful apartment, you got other businesses in town. We don't want you to go back there. So what we're really asking for is some tax exoneration over the next 1 to 5 years. And we request, formally that it follow what LURDA would have done, which is 100% for 3 years and then 50% for years 4 and 5. But we're very willing to talk about that and answer any questions you have. But like I said, this project, and we all know it was intended and depended on the LURDA tax abatement. And through whatever mistake happened in June of 2021, the paperwork didn't get followed through. So we're hoping that we can get some help and reach another way. I'd like Brian to just talk a little bit about the project, where it's at now, and some of the obstacles that we've had to overcome the last 8 years to get this to where it is now.
Good evening, Brian Myers here. I see some familiar faces. I see a lot of new faces, so good to meet you all. I want to go through just a little bit about the history of the project. Just again, we spent a fair amount of time in this room, again, seeing some new faces. So I just want to kind of reiterate where we've come, where we are, and then of course what we're asking for. So at the end of Locust Street, it's a beautiful mixed-use building. It encompasses 33 new residential apartments. The tenants can park under and behind the building, and they can get on an elevator. They can go up to their new apartment and overlook the beautiful river. There are now 2 first-floor commercial tenants that are serving Columbia as well. One is the state representative Brett Miller, and the other is Let's Roll, the e-bike store that sells, rents, and repairs e-bike. Very cool business if you guys haven't checked it out. I purchased the property from an absentee landlord in 2015. It was a 4-unit building in the front. Do you guys remember what the building? Do you guys remember what it looked like? I don't know. Yeah. Yes. All right. Cool. So it was a 4-unit kind of dilapidated building in the front. In addition to this, there was also a mobile home positioned on the back on the corner of Bank Avenue and Avenue I. I don't know if you guys remember that. The view from 441 looking up Locust Street, it wasn't necessarily the most inviting. We knew that we needed to do something to improve the property once we had purchased it. We started by talking with Jeff Hellman and Rebecca Denlinger, again, previous faces, great folks, about what we could do with our property. After looking at the condition of the existing buildings, we decided that a new structure would make the most sense and add the most value to the community. Jeff and Rebecca agreed, and they told us that the borough was actually trying to attract investment into the borough. They explained to us that they are offering basically 2 key incentives to help incentivize investment, right? And as Aaron mentioned, the efforts have really worked. It's really cool to see what's happening in Columbia. The first program that they kind of explained to us was this LRTA program to help offset the high tax burden on new buildings. When you build something brand new, it gets reassessed, and wham, there's a huge tax bill. Since the property taxes are so high in Columbia compared to the surrounding areas, they were offering essentially a 5-year LRTA program to help investors ramp up that income to be able to help offset that burden of the high property taxes. The program allows for the property tax burden to be ramped up starting with the first 3 years at 0 increase, and then the following 2 years at a 50% increase, is what was explained and what was the LRTA program. The second was a $400,000 bridge loan from the Borough of Columbia Loan Fund. So we went to work designing a mixed-use building with commercial space on the first floor to activate the sidewalk, and then new apartments on the upper levels. We went through and we got approved for land development plans, building permits. We selected a lender, went through a bunch of stuff, spent a bunch of time in this room. The day that we closed on the loan, our lender, on the day that we closed with our lender, the borough said that there was a hiccup with their loan and they wouldn't be ready to close on time at the same time. I don't know if any of you guys remember this or not, but it wouldn't have the loan to be able to close with us. But it should just take a couple days to clear up. So we talked to our senior lender, and they said it would be fine for us to go ahead and close anyways. So since the contractors were already mobilized to work, they went ahead and demolished the old buildings to ensure that we would stay on track with the construction. We were then notified that the Borough of Columbia Loan Fund, they would no longer be able to offer us this bridge loan. So this is a huge challenge because we had the whole capital stack. We had put a bunch of money into it, obviously, and we'd borrowed the money, and then the bridge loan was bringing in $400,000 to be able to help get this thing across the end zone because it was a tight project. And so they took the $400,000. So since we're notified the bridge loan is no longer there. So since we didn't have the funds to be able to complete the project, we had to halt it. I don't know if you guys remember the hold around first. Yep, sorry, and then just a vacant lot there for a while. But we kept working. We kept going. So since we we had to halt it. We kept working to try to find the funds to be able to build. Then what happened? The building code changed from an IBC 2015 to 2018, which required us to actually have to redesign the building again, which again challenges. Construction prices continued to go up. COVID came in 2020, pushing the project back again. On June 18, 2021, we brought in a filled-out LRTA application, and we personally dropped it off at the front desk. Actually, it was a requirement from our lender at the time to have this LRTA because, again, with a tight project, you have to make sure that you can ramp things up. New construction costs a tremendous amount of money, and obviously at that time it was very, very expensive. We closed on the loan and we're finally be able to begin resume construction. Finally, after raising additional capital, we began the construction project 2021. Project went extremely well, and it finished on time despite many supply line challenges. In February of 2023, we were fully leased up. It was fully completed, fully leased up, occupancy permit, everything. We were excited to have a beautiful, fully leased building until we checked our mail and got a 100,000 plus property tax bill in the mail. So that was, for us, it was just a really big shock. We inquired about it, and we found out that the LRTA application somehow hadn't been processed. So our ask essentially is just that we were part of that initial crew. I know a bunch of people were trying to bring investment dollars downtown. Our ask is that we would kind of just be, that we wanted to be in that group, and that we would be able to be allowed to have that ramp up in LRTA just like we were supposed to. So again, I'm not sure what happened to the paperwork there from Sharon, but apparently it didn't make its way through. So
Brian, when you dropped your application off, so I'm clear, what did you drop off?
It was the actual LRTA application. It was a 2-page document. We were told that everything else, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of information that's needed in order for LRTA to be able to be approved. We were told that everything else was already in file and in queue. Building permits, et cetera.
I'm just trying to understand. So we had all the other supporting documentation. The only thing you didn't turn in was the application?
That's correct.
Do you have a second set of that? Can you show us a copy of the paperwork you put together?
The application itself?
No, the backup supporting documentation. Do you have all that?
I mean, we can certainly produce that for you. I don't have it with me here.
Okay, so when you put it together, did you make a set for you and a set for us? So you had 2 sets, or you just had one original set and that was all you had?
So what, if I may?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we're trying to piece this together
Yeah.
from June of 2021, and a lot has happened since then.
Correct.
I mean, what we remember is the borough saying, oh, we have all your permits and your drawings and everything, I'm picturing it. It's all here in a pile, all we need is the 2 pages to go on top of it, and then you'll have a completed application. And
okay.
So, it was from your files that
So the LRTA application requires proof of financial statements. There's a lot of financial documents that would not be typically part of a file. That would be something separate. We had the building permit plans and everything else. I've gone through the file myself. I've never seen all the other financial documents that are required for a LRTA application in the file. That's what I'm trying to see. Where did those go? Because that's the piece that I know that we were waiting for in order to process the final application. We had some pieces. We had the permit application. We had the approved permit. We had the drawing set. We didn't have the 6 or 7 other items which were all financially based. I don't remember those coming in. Do you remember dropping all that off?
There's 3 of us in the company. I know Benjamin and Preston both were very involved in getting all the stuff in. That's not my role in the company, and so I'm not trying to scapegoat the question, but I don't recall. I know Benjamin was working hard to make sure that you guys had everything you need, that our lender had everything you need. Again, Benjamin's playing point on that.
Sure.
Preston was essentially the delivery boy who, the email chain came through and was like, hey, you just have to drop this off so that we can close on our loan. Again, we're trying to piece it together too, as Aaron said.
Right.
But our understanding was that was all that was required is those 2 pages.
I haven't seen anything that says, oh, hey, we gave you all that financial information, right? And I haven't seen anything from the borough that says, hey, we're waiting for this financial information either. So
yeah, I agree.
We can't put it together, and I know you guys have tried to work for it.
Yeah, I guess what I will say is, having talked to Sharon Sino as well as Deb LeClaire, who was the administrative assistant who handled this, their recollection was that Mark had emailed you guys the application. When whoever came in to bring it in did not have that application with them that day.
Mm-hmm.
That is their recollection. So they gave him the 2-page application again and said, hey, you need to fill this out and get us this additional paperwork. We don't have anything beyond that. That's what, we did investigate, because when you emailed me, we kind of said, whoa, we better figure out what happened here. And so, to the best of our knowledge and what we've been able to find, that's what happened there. I mean, I can't say that for sure. It's hard to prove a negative one way or another, but that's where that's where our investigation kind of led us as far as what happened here, so.
So sorry, just to be clear, so Preston came in to drop off the 2 documents, and when he arrived, he did not have the documents and was given documents to fill out? Is that
Correct.
what you're saying?
That is, yes.
The 2-page application.
The 2-page application, yes.
Well, we still don't, I don't ever recall receiving, in that application form is all the additional backup supporting documents that makes it a complete application.
I see.
So the financial statements, proof of ability to pay, all the other financial securities that needs to come in. Most often, a LERTA application is about a 2-inch binder with all the information. I don't remember ever receiving all that additional stuff as part of the application, so my understanding of it was we received the application form and we're waiting for all the rest. Sharon remember having a conversation with somebody out there during the ribbon cutting groundbreaking ceremony we had down there, and the comment was, wow, that is a lot, we'll get on that and get it to you, but we never saw it. So that was even weeks after the application was supposed to be dropped off, that we were still waiting for the additional information. So we didn't, I don't know if we ever put it right.
Was there communication with Benjamin or Preston or myself, or do you know, I'd like to look back and kind of dig into that too, because that's, I mean, for me, this is new information. My understanding was we had submitted everything except the application. The last pending thing was, again, just to bring this document, which my understanding of Preston is he brought the document in, signed, and delivered it, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was at the groundbreaking ceremony. We were down there. We were taking group tours through the building. I don't know when that conversation took place out there. I wasn't part of it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, so it was just a person-to-person
A side conversation. We're still waiting. Right.
There was no email back and forth saying, hey, you guys are missing these documents. Please send in these documents.
I have not found any communication that detailed exactly what was missing.
So I mean, short of a time machine, I don't know that we could go back and make the paperwork go through, correctly.
We can certainly produce what you need now, but
yeah. So that's why we're here asking for, I guess, special relief.
Sure.
I think legally we're asking for exoneration, not a brand new LERTA program, so it won't affect everybody else out there. We're just trying to be where we all thought we'd be for this LERTA project.
It was a huge surprise to get the tax bill.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a tremendous amount of, $400,000 of cost over the next 5 years. So
right.
It's a tremendous amount of cost.
I will say that probably about 4 or 5 months ago, we did receive a call from the lending bank asking if we had the full LERTA application because they didn't have it.
Yes.
That was one of our first triggers to say, hey, wait a minute, we don't have it either, right? We don't have anything because normally when all that stuff comes in, we have a process now where we take it, we put it into a file and then we scan it in and we put it into our database so it's all together in one. It's not here. That's the only time I saw the completed application was the one that Aaron emailed us that was typed up and sent in, but still didn't have the borough portion on the bottom of page 2 signed and filled out. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we've talked through this. I think it's a council decision as to, Ebony, when we walk through this, about how we could move forward.
Yeah, if you wanted to approve an exoneration, that would be basically a tax relief for this property. Again, they're not asking for a new LERTA program, which would take a lot longer and probably cause a lot of headaches. So that's, where we are. That would be, that's kind of the legal process. We'd make sure that we go through that correctly. But that's where we're at this point. Whether you want to approve that in a way that they've asked or some other way or not at all is kind of your decision to make.
What are we looking at exactly for money, though? Because is this just municipal tax or school tax?
It would only be, you could only deal with your taxes, the borough
Right, but
taxes.
how much would that look like? He's saying 100,000 is what the bill is. So we don't really know what we would be exonerating.
It would be, you are at 8 mills, correct?
Correct.
So,
I have the bill.
do you have the tax bill there?
This is kind of.
Depending on what it is.
While he's looking, I
of the school ones.
I believe you're going to the school district as well this month to ask the same request.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
They're asking the school as well, so they'll be going to the school district 19th, I believe.
That's correct.
Questions, comments, concerns?
First comment, I do not want to act on this tonight. Second comment, I almost feel it has to go back to the learner process because by granting one person tax relief, it opens you up to grant everybody. The learner program is designed for special projects, and that would eliminate a lot of people coming in here just asking for tax relief. So, I'm kind of torn here.
I agree, Eric. I've had numerous citizens approach me that recently purchased homes during the housing boom, and they were homes that had been flipped. They were flipper homes. And they were purchased with the property tax listed on it, blah, 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 you know, like we all have. However, they didn't realize that those property taxes were based on the pre-flipped, the pre-renovated value. And now they've purchased the home, everything's hunky-dory, and we've triggered the reassessment because of the way it went through the permits and everything went through. Triggered the reassessment, their tax bill doubled. What's to stop them from coming in then and asking for the same thing?
Respectfully, it is a different situation. We were here in 2015, tore down Blight, put in $13 million worth of new building.
I understand that.
All knowing that it would be,
right.
We would get this tax help. I think it's easy to say we wouldn't have built the same project that's standing now without the LRTA tax abatement. I'm not saying it would never have happened, but as Brian said, on a project this tight, these $100,000 here and there, they matter. So we wouldn't have built as much or as nice without that.
I'm just really surprised. This whole conversation could be alleviated if you had a copy of the documents that were prepared.
Exactly.
You guys are
it's embarrassing.
Well-established, squared away business that does beautiful projects. And I understand the intent and wanting to take advantage of an awesome program like LRTA. But that was so dependent upon getting that LRTA, was so dependent upon this project succeed or not. I just cannot imagine that you wouldn't make copies of whatever you brought in here. If you just had that today, this would be probably a no-brainer discussion. It's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. It really puts us in a difficult position. As it does you, financially, but it puts us in a difficult position in trying to honor the spirit of the LRTA, right? And, of all the other folks who may or may not have had opportunity to take advantage of it. And I feel your pain too about the revolving loan fund. That was another unfortunate event that you guys got caught in the middle of. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. But you got caught. Another unfortunate circumstance. I'm at a loss. What I feel is really bad.
Yeah.
But what's the wise thing to do here? What is wisdom here, moving forward? That's how we have to approach this.
Yeah, we've gone over the 15 minutes, and in the spirit of trying to keep the business meeting moving, since this is a business meeting.
I just had a short question.
Okay.
If, was the LRTA application processed only through the borough, or was there a dual LRTA application process for the school and borough taxes?
It's not processed.
I'm saying the program itself.
Ordinarily, what would happen in in this situation, if someone submitted a LERTA application, completed, we would process it, and then I believe the practice has been to forward that on to the school district.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Because at
And
that
on the
point,
county, yes.
at
yeah.
that point, council would vote on accepting the property into the LERTA. The school district would vote to accept it, and also the county.
My question was just that if it was processed in both locations or through one at a time.
Yeah, and a lot of places, both locations kind of have their own separate application process. Here, the borough does it, you know, all in one kind of.
Because it's our ordinance,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I mean, another one that'd be unfortunate is that, again, you apply for it when you get your building permits, and then you don't think, well, we didn't think about it again until the project was done, and then you get that first tax bill, and so it's not like you even have updates on it monthly or whatever, that anybody would have caught in and say, hey, here's the problem.
We do have records of conversations between the borough and your company. We have those records that do exist. It wasn't like it was radio silence. There were ongoing touch points.
Mark, can we put this on the 24th as an action item?
Sure.
That'll give everyone here time to digest and.
Darren, can you make it on the 24th? Can you guys, does that work for you?
I know I can.
Does anyone have any questions for them this evening that you would like answered before we would take, what? No, that's not.
I know.
Bathroom. I was confused. All right, yes, Frank. We'll give you a minute here. Because we're going to be discussing it again on the 24th,
I
so.
understand that. But while it's in my mind, what I can think of, you remember over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I come to numerous meetings and I asked who has signed up for the LERTA.
Yep.
Nobody gave a damn. Nobody said nothing. My phone number was always on the sign-up sheet. Nobody ever called me. And had you looked then, when you fill out the permit to start the building, it's a space there for the LERTA. If you're on the LERTA, you're on the KOZ, that lets you know. And if you go back to find that permit, if it's not on there, it wasn't applied for. Now,
And I think we've all agreed that it wasn't applied for at the time the permit was issued.
well, that's their fault. That's their fault they didn't apply. I feel for them. I just hope they're not here trying to take the borough, but it kind of makes me think that. Can I ask you a question? Did you not sell the place?
We did.
You did sell it, and you're doing this for the previous owner.
Well, we still have the owner wasn't just somebody we met on the street. We have an ongoing business relationship with him. He's kind of almost one of the team, in fact, so.
Yeah, well, the thing is to find out who's at fault, but it should be on that permit. I was told that by our previous manager who was here. You start with the permit. The project should have never been started if that wasn't filled out, and if it was, to have the permit for that, and the project was started, and it's not on there, shame on you. Thank you, that's my opinion.
Thanks.
Say it as blunt as I can.
Yes.
Something I don't understand here. The government's just announced that they sold the building. I'm just trying to understand something. So what you're telling me is that, yeah, we built this building. We were supposed to get a tax break. The paperwork didn't go through right. But we sold it, but we want to give that tax break to the new owner. Is that what's happening here?
Well.
That's going to go along with the building?
It does, the LERTA does.
I'm just.
Yeah, that's how the LERTA works, is that it's on the property, not the owner.
That just don't make sense. It just doesn't, because, I mean, it's a profitable business. So how are you going to say, okay, you're getting a tax break, but the 10,000 residents of Columbia when I got to cut the lawn for the borough, because the borough's property is near my property, I don't get a tax break. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
It just don't make sense. You apply for a tax break, you sell that building, that should be abolished, that's it. The new owner has to apply. You shouldn't be able to hand that down, because then they're making more profit. That's all I have.
Thank you. We'll put that on the 24th to take action while we all digest it. Thank you.
If there's any information you need in the meantime, obviously ask.
Well, I think any of us, yeah. If anyone has questions, we'll email Mark and he'll run point on that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. And next, another crossing guard. Could I have a motion?
2 months into school year, we're already having 3 crossing guards.
Oh my goodness.
So I appreciate Mr. Sexton, his willingness to step up and help out.
So can I have a motion to authorize to hire Ryan Sexton as a part-time crossing guard? So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Kaufman, to authorize hiring Ryan Sexton as part-time crossing guard. Questions, comments, concerns? No? Seeing none, hearing none, I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Kaufman, to authorize hiring Brian Sexton as part-time crossing guard. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? What? All right. And next, we're at staff reports, comments, and announcements. Solicitor Gable.
I don't have too much more to add this evening. Next meeting, you will have our lead report for the third quarter, so we have a couple of things to discuss there. But other than that, glad that we were able to get those 2 ordinances taken care of, and we'll continue working on things that we need to do to keep that, your code updated, because we've got some more things on in the hopper here, so.
All right. And you're in auto.
I just wanted to highlight that construction is going well out on the 2nd Street CDBG project. We anticipate that'll be completely wrapped up by the end of the month.
Excellent. And boards, commissions, and committees, upcoming meetings. There is a HARB meeting tomorrow evening. HARB, what?
I don't get to talk tonight, you cut me off.
Oh, there it is. I told you, I am all out of sorts. Secretary Treasurer, Mr. Stivers, I guess I'll let you.
Thanks. I was about to say I had nothing to add, but now I can't go through all that and not say anything.
Exactly. See, I just was reading your mind and just going on.
You were. It was a little scary. Chief Brower mentioned it at the beginning of his comments. I just want to say it again. We have 2 really big, good activities coming up in the next 2 weekends. The Alba Twitch Festival is coming up this weekend. Always a big event for the community. Looking forward to it. It is going to impact the River Park area, but I'm hoping that all the residents will just wander down and join. It's free to walk around and see what's going on, to look at the vendors that are there, support them if you can. It's just a great time to really show off our town, and we're also hoping that a lot of the people that come to this event will not only enjoy the River Park, but wander up into town and see as well. I know that the MAC has put out requests to the businesses to have some specials and some other things to really celebrate what's going on here. And then the bus coming up the following weekend is going to be a very large, excellent craft fair. I get excited about these kind of events because these are the things that bring new people to the town. And I know when I travel and I go to a town and I go to a place like this, I don't go there just to walk around. I go there to buy stuff and look around and spend money, and that's a great thing for this community. So we're just looking forward to having a good 2 weekends in a row. I will say that we had a meeting even today with the chief to go over last minute protocols, just so that we're safe and secure as possible. those who want to see it, we will be activating our brand new EOC trailer. It'll be down at the event this weekend and next weekend. Jay Barney will be down there, set up and actually using the trailer for what we created it for, and that is to be able to have that EOC area in a location close to where the event is. So looking forward to giving it its first trial run in a real event, see how it works out. Thank you.
Hopefully we won't need it.
Hopefully all we need it for is for him to sit there and make sure everything's okay.
We usually have a cat meeting the same night as the harbor meeting.
That's tomorrow night, Frank.
It is tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
5:30.
It's not a borough thing anymore. They meet here. It's not really a borough thing. They're independent now.
Yeah, I didn't announce any upcoming meetings there yet.
Thank you, Heather.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, no harm done.
All right.
Now I know where I'm going with that.
Boards, commissions, and committees. We have a meeting tomorrow evening, Parks and Rec on Thursday the 12th. Planning Commission on the 17th. There is a budget meeting. The next budget meeting is next Thursday, the 19th. And Shade Tree Commission on the 23rd. And CCAT is tomorrow night at 5.
Well, yeah, 5:30 to
5:30.
6:30.
Here in Borough Hall. In your packet, you have the approved minutes from the Planning Commission. Borough Council comments, Councilperson Bernard.
Sure, thank you. If your street was a designated street to be swept on Saturday and you inadvertently forgot to move your car and you didn't get a ticket and you were surprised.
We don't sweep on Saturday.
I'm sorry, did I say Saturday?
Yes.
I meant to say Monday. Monday.
I was all confused. I'm thinking it's just.
I was just seeing if you were on. Monday.
I'm out of sorts.
It was because Chief Brommer and Public Works Manager Graham decided to put the street sweeper away that day and give folks a break on Columbus Day, knowing that tends to be a heavy ticket day. So we hate getting tickets. We thank you for your consideration and sensitivity to us curbside parkers. Thank you.
Councilperson Fisher.
Nothing.
Councilperson Kaufman.
The Parks and Rec Commission. We have 2 people involved in that right now, or more.
We currently have 5 on the board, or I believe 2 have asked not to be reinstated at the end of the year, so we're down to 3.
I know Barb is the liaison for the Park and Recs, but if need be, I will be at that meeting on the 12th to make sure they have enough people to hold a meeting.
Thank you. You're not officially on the board, so that would have to be an appointment by this
Council? Okay.
council.
That's fair enough. I will be in attendance, but
Thank you.
can't vote.
And that's something that we, and you and I have talked about. I think it might be something to consider. That is a compatible office, so borough council members can be appointed to that board.
I just think it's necessary to do something.
Agreed.
Councilperson Leonard.
I just wanted to thank Ben Otterbein for coming here and being so well prepared and presenting very good questions. And I really liked your suggestion at the end, so I hope we can look into that and see what could be done. Thank you.
Nothing.
Nothing tonight, except I wanted to just agree with Sharon there. It's good to see community involvement here, and it really helps discussions go well and in the direction that helps this board, this council best serve the residents of the town. And coming and sharing what you have to say is very important. So thanks.
And it's refreshing when you can give us the information beforehand so we can be prepared to have that valuable discussion.
I just wanted to announce this week, because I thought safety would bring it up, but I guess not. This week, it is Fire Prevention Week. I did not get out to the firehouse tonight because I needed to come down here and see Evan before the meeting, but their fire department did have their open house this evening. I just wanted to announce, though, something really cool, that I saw our county commissioners tomorrow at their meeting. They're going to be introducing legislation to give a tax credit for volunteer fire department and EMS personnel. I'm not sure if they're looking at property tax or income tax or what kind of tax credit they're looking at. But I just thought that was really cool to see. I mean, we do it here in the borough, but to see it happening on a regional level I thought was pretty cool. So, you know, be aware of fire. Take some time this week and make sure you have your house prepared and check your smoke alarm, check your smoke detectors, service your fire extinguishers, all that good stuff. And also coming up, I believe we may have received the email, Mark, I'm not sure. The Lancaster County Planning Commission is doing their next round of community sessions. If anyone has an interest in attending that, let me or Mark know. We can get you the information on when it is. It's actually, I think it's November 1st. Something like that. I forget. But that's pretty cool to see what's happening at the county level on planning. So there's that. All right. Announcement of next meeting at 7 p.m. on October 19th. Council will hold a budget meeting. The next regular meeting of Borough Council will be Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Could I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. And a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Price, second by Councilperson Stahl, to adjourn at 8:46 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? And we're adjourned. We have checks to sign. Joanne almost fell off her chair. You gotta sign checks. I can't sign this.